So welcome to this episode. This is episode 2. Thank you for your love, like I earlier said. And moving on, let's get into it deeply. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to recognize cars based on body and styling. So basically we have 7 broad categories. One, I want you to know we have the saloon and the sedans. Now, saloons and sedans in today's world have been put in one group. Originally, they were called saloons, which is similar to something I'm sitting on, because saloons are built for the comfort of the rear sitting passengers, while sedans were focused on the front sitting passengers. So yes, we have in the next category, we have the hatchbacks. And yeah, the hatchbacks have a funny looking shape. I like to describe them as those cars that look like when they are trying to flog children in primary school and they go all, So yes, there's a Toyota Yaris in that class, and you will notice from the way the backside is literally straight or a little bit slant. Those are hatchbacks. The next category, we have the estates and the wagons. What people used to call panel van in those days, yeah, those are estates or wagons. BMW likes to describe them as touring. So that is another category of the cars. Then we have the minivans. The minivans are those cars like the Sienna, family cars basically, the Volkswagen Chiron, cars in that category. Those are the minivans. Then we have the coupes. The coupes are usually 2 doors, strictly 2 doors. So usually any 2-door vehicle you see is a coupe. Now there are the last category, which is the convertibles or drop head. These are cars where you can basically drop down the roof line or remove them either electronically or manually, depending on the vehicle. And the last category is what people like to call Jeep. Nigerians, Jeep is a brand, just like Toyota is a brand. Jeep is a brand on its own. So because a car is on stilts, and when I say stilts, that's just high-rising suspension basically, it's called an SUV. SUV means sports utility vehicle. SUV, not Jeep. So not every car riding on stilts is a Jeep, although there are Jeeps that are SUVs too, because they ride on stilts. You have the Wrangler, you have the Grand Cherokee, those are Jeeps. But Jeep is a brand on its own. Any car riding on stilts are called SUV. Thank you. Let's move on to the next segment. So on the car review segment of today, we have the 2009 Hyundai, as it's supposed to be called, but Hyundai, like Nigerians call it. It's pronounced Hyundai. The Hyundai Elantra on today's episode, and I'm going to walk you around it very quickly. So the Hyundai has a 1.4 inline 4-cylinder engine producing 138 horsepower at 6,000 revs per minute. So that means that when you rev the car and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by the time it gets to 6, because usually the rev meter is graded at 1,000 revs per minute. So for each one is in 1,000. So by the time you get to 6,000 revs per minute, that is when you have the full 138 horsepower launched. So basically, I picked this car because it's a 2009, and so this car is already 11 years already. Now I notice people are beginning to buy this car lately, and it's good, but I'm going to walk you around a few things about it. So the Hyundai Elantra rides on 16-inch 205 by 55 rim 16 all-season tires. Although this model usually comes standard with alloy rims, depending on the trim you buy, 5-spoke alloy rims actually, but this has been upgraded to aftermarket rim 16 alloys. Traditional halogen headlamps, the high beams here, coupled with fog lamps. I'll walk you around 5 things I love about it and 5 things I hate about it, and also problems you are likely to have should you be getting one. You that are watching, why have you not subscribed? I beg, don't send me back to my village, please. Oh yeah, click on the pop-up banner below and click on subscribe and the bell icon to set a reminder for every time we make a post. 5 things I love about the car. 1, the look. I think it looks really beautiful. I think Hyundai did well with that. And then it looks official, so it's not the kind of car you expect just anyone to drive. Because personally, driving this round town, I discovered I've not really been disturbed by the Nigerian police. I've not been disturbed by the Nigerian police a lot because it looks official, more like something a company will get as an official car. 2 is the headlamps. If you drive this car at night, the headlamps are wonderful, really bright traditional halogen lamps. 3 is the way it handles really great, and I feel like it's sporty. I mean, you could make a corner at 60 to 70 kilometers an hour and you'll be fine. Yeah, it handles really great. Another 4th thing I like about it is the brakes. The brakes are really sharp. Well, not BMW kind of sharp, but for this class, compared to a whole lot of other cars I've driven, the Toyota Camry inclusive, this has really sharp brakes. And the 5th thing I really love about it would be the sound system. It has a great factory fitted sound system. So 5 annoying things about this car. First is if you try to put your foot down, the gearbox isn't that quick to respond, but when it does, it's really nice. And I'll break that down when I say the gearbox isn't quick to respond. So basically, if you put your foot down, okay, I'm trying to overtake somebody and I go all out on the accelerator, it stalls before it actually picks. So practically saying, for gamers who understand this, it has a top speed but not acceleration. So 2 is aging. This car has a whole lot of aging problems. So if you get one, there are some things that you're going to experience and it's going to be at different times. The power steering is electronic, so the power steering could give in at any time, and which is leading me to my next point. The parts are really expensive when compared to other cars in its class. Compared to the Toyota Corolla, for instance, the parts of this car are just annoyingly expensive. But annoyingly expensive, of course, if you are getting original parts, because I know a lot of people just buy whatever they can see on the shelf. But I like to stick with original parts, and I advise you do the same. The brake pads for the front are around 10,000 naira, which is a lot, really. So the 4th annoying thing about this is that it's a sedan, not a saloon. So that means I like to drive stretching my legs, for instance, and I'm just 5'9" roughly in height. So once I push the seats to the back, whoever is sitting behind me wouldn't have enough leg room. So that can be very annoying, especially if you have to drive it on long distances. The last annoying thing about this car is the fact that it has a terrible resale value. This model, this particular trim, was bought in 2009 at 2.9 million naira. And if I were to resell today, I doubt if anyone will offer me $1 million, even though this is in top shape. That can be very annoying. So sometimes you wonder if it's really worth it. So my final verdict on this car: should you shortlist it? Should you consider it? Should you go ahead and buy it? Or should you just wish list it? Well, it comes to choice basically. I love it, and if you are going to buy it, my advice is don't have it for more than 4 to 5 years before you resell, because after that all the problems start to manifest. It can be power windows today, electronic power steering tomorrow, and the shock absorbers are separated from the springs. So unlike conventional shocks where the spring goes around the shock absorber, here the shock absorbers are mounted separate from the springs. And to complement for the comfort in that, it has a lot of bushings on the rear. So now those bushings give in easily, and that's just due to the nature of our terrible road. And each bushing can cost you as much as 4,000 to 5,000 naira to fix, and there are several of them on that rear end. The shocks are sweet though, it will be sweetening you when you are driving it, but once these things start giving you problems, it could be really annoying because those sounds won't stop coming. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel and my car reviews. Remember, a good car enthusiast is always learning and keeping abreast with new updates in the car world. See you next time. Do not forget, Plug Studios shot this. Shout out to Plug Studios. Catch you guys.